Well, welcome, my friends. I am excited to be here with Justin Dougherty. He is the president and CEO of Autism Action Partnership. Justin, it's so great to see you today.
Oh, it's great. It's great to be here with you as always.
Yeah. Hey, why don't you just tell us a little bit about Autism Action Partnership and and what is it, the history, mission, and all that good stuff?
Certainly. So we are celebrating our 15 years serving the Omaha, Nebraska community here, and we're a nonprofit, so 501c nonprofit. We began the roots of our organization were it was actually a family who was impacted by autism.
Mhm.
They started a foundation, and that foundation, after a number of years, became a nonprofit. So a lot of investing in others, and then started to say there's some really great things happening across the country and not an obvious home for it here in town. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of in 2008 is when Autism Action Partnership was born. And so we focus our services on what kind of three primary areas: support, which is supporting families and individuals with autism in any way that we can. Um, Prosperity. And so we've got a number of programs more recently within the last 4 to 5 years that are focusing on young adults and adults. Kind of once you turn 21 and leave most of the systems that exist, there's a big
Yeah.
blue ocean, which is opportunity and also a lot of barriers. And so we're focusing some services on that. And then the other kind of core pillar of our organization is inclusion. And so inclusion is both kind of family events. We do things throughout the community to allow families to access different things, and then also more recently, we've launched what we call our Compass program, which is around a kind of inclusion, helping others advance their understanding and practice of inclusion.
Well, yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the Compass program and what that means.
Right. Probably since the beginning of our organization, we have done autism awareness.
Mhm.
And if anybody kind of pays attention to some of the nomenclature, it's become autism acceptance. And really, this is across the world. The idea here is that understanding what autism is was very important for a while, and it's just not really enough, quite frankly. And so, kind of on the heels of that kind of change of scope and focus, Compass is training. And so, we've done education of the community, what autism is, what it isn't. And so, training really is around how can you be more understanding of autism? How can you change behaviors? And it's almost always unintentional. We do things this way. We greet everybody the same way. We're welcoming of all people. And you're like, the way in which you welcome sometimes actually makes people not want to come. And it's just lack of understanding. And so we work with businesses. We have targeted through our training. So targeted with law enforcement. We do a lot of work with law enforcement, have for a number of years, Omaha Police Department specifically. First responders, when you're coming and there's sirens and loud noises, and you're talking to someone who has sensory issues or maybe limited ability to communicate verbally, what happens. And every once in a while, you see the horrible stories about what could happen when it's misunderstood or misinterpreted as
Yeah.
maybe aggressive behavior or refusal to adhere to what's being said. We work with businesses. We talk to businesses not only from the customer side, how do you create an environment that's more welcoming, but also as an employer,
Mhm.
creating opportunities. So there's a significant energy around autism is a disability, but there's a significant abilities within that autism spectrum. And how do you create an environment that allows that person to shine and do likely better than some of their coworkers in certain areas, while they might struggle with the communication and social pieces. So
Right.
Compass is really it's training around autism, and we've got your kind of your 100 levels, but then we go more in detail around again employers. We did a training with the arts and entertainment organizations about hosting sensory friendly performances, as well as what that means for your ticket takers and hosts and things like that. And then additionally with Compass, we've added a consultation services. So
Okay.
we will come physically into your space and walk through with you. We'll do trainings individually with specific people. We'll work on your website for accessibility components. We create sensory maps. There's a number of other components that we can actually come in, offer services directly to businesses. And then when we leave, it's not just like we've got know-how; they've actually have tools
Right.
and been able to implement.
Yeah.
And so we've had some pretty successful. I'm happy to share that the Kiewit Luminarium is one of our first partners, and
Okay.
we work with them significantly, both with their staff as well as the physical space, website, and all everything I just shared.
Right.
Kiewit Luminarium has
Right.
checked
Yeah.
boxes
Yeah.
as an example.
Yeah. Let me just ask you this. From Omaha as a whole, just as this community, how do you think it compares to other cities with kind of what what you're doing in the efforts of autism? I'm just curious if you can answer that even. I don't know.
Well, I would say in some areas we're ahead. I would say just kind of like the Nebraska, nice, the Midwestern. I'm born and raised in Omaha, so I'm gonna
Right.
sing our praises of just being, for the most part, just good humans who care about others
Right.
and care about their neighbor. So that sets us apart from a lot of other places. I would say most of the ways where we can improve is like kind of it's ignorance, and it's unintentional ignorance. It's kind of the joke of like, oh, you don't speak this language, I'm going to speak louder and slower in English. You're like, that's not really what you do, right?
Yeah.
So some of those things, when you're like, you have autism, knowing what that word might mean, knowing that if your nephew has autism and someone else has autism, it might not be anywhere close to the same
Hmm.
experience, and having that, or saying, oh, you have autism, okay, then if you want to come over and sit in this section of the restaurant, this is a little bit quieter, it's a little bit softer, less stimuli, those types of things. So again, I'm certainly biased as an Omahaan, and I would say that we've got all the right ingredients
Right.
in this community to have significant change. And one of my daydreams in AAP's long-term daydreams is about making Omaha an example of what could be. And we
Sure.
some of the other communities around the state, around the country, who are forward thinking, who are doing things around public transportation or some of the other sectors where you see more inclusive signage or more inclusive behavior by public servants and things like that that create a more welcoming approach.
Right. You may not be able to answer this either, but you had this amazing festival maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember the Census Festival. Is that correct?
Common census.
Yeah,
Common
Common Sense.
census, yes.
Is
Yes.
is there something like that in the works in the future?
We don't have anything specifically
Okay.
planned, but I would say, I mean, in general, yes. I'm not sure of the degree of which, but
Sure.
I'm glad you brought that up because it's a great example of Omaha. So we
Hmm.
brought in national speakers and a bunch of wonderful, amazing humans from out of town, and then said to everybody, all of our partners here locally, we're going to create this big spotlight and we want you in it. And across the board, a number of partners from the arts and entertainment organizations and other partners from education and other houses, if you will, their sectors, all joined in and really helped Omaha shine, in addition to
Yeah.
bringing in these national. And I think it's a great example. We've got Compass, kind of was sprung from that, was kind of
Mm.
really a catalyst for that effort. And a lot of folks, I think, honestly saw Autism Action Partnership in a different light and said, oh, you could help us do better and be better. It's not just that we're serving. And I often say that, Autism Action Partnership will not achieve its mission if we only serve the autism community. That will
Yeah.
always be a core of what we do. It'll be the dominant thing that we do, but we have to be able to change the lived experience of those we serve in the community that we live in. And so as
Yeah.
we do the inclusion work, the Compass work, we're indirectly serving the family. So when they leave here and go to the zoo or go to the Luminarium or the Children's Museum, there's a sensory kit for them. There's sensory friendly hours. There's opportunities for
Yeah.
them to go in and say, we have a unique need. And they say, oh yeah, we're trained in that. We're good. No worries. Come this way. We'll do things this way. And let us know if you have any questions. We're happy to help you, but you're welcome here. And
Yeah.
we see that experience continuing to expand and grow here in our community. And we're happy to help cultivate it.
Yeah. How long have you been with Autism Action Partnership?
5 years now. I
Okay.
just hit my 5 year anniversary here recently.
Okay.
I'm happy to
Um,
report.
well, we've just got like 1 minute left, and I wanted to just yeah, how can people help, and where can they go for more information?
Yeah, so we're autismaction.org, O-R-G. And so that's the easiest place to connect. We've got all the social media places. We've got volunteer opportunities. We have a workforce program. We're looking for employers. We're looking for volunteers to help do things around here, as well as we have a Prosper Academy with young adults navigating the community. And so opportunities to go do different activities, or individuals to help with a skill set. We've got someone who's a nutritionist or in finance or anything like that that can help impart wisdom onto the folks that we work with our staff included in
Yeah.
that transition of information. There's really not, I would say, there's nobody in town who couldn't be, we call an autism ally. So we offer autism ally trainings, which is what is autism, what isn't it, and how can I be a better advocate for those
Yeah.
with autism. And so a dentist, if a dentist wants to call, we'll go to their office and help them figure out how they can be maybe more inclusive in what they do, their physical space or their staff.
Yeah.
You name the profession, I can tell you why and how
Okay.
we could assist them in becoming more
Right.
inclusive.
Right.
Anybody and everybody's welcome under the tent.
Yeah. Very, very cool. And again, thank you for all that you and AAP does for the community. The next time I see you, we'll be talking about the big gala that's coming up September 30th, celebrating 15 years. So we'll have a conversation about that. So everybody just save the date. But it's always great talking to you, Justin.
Oh, and you too. Thank you so very much for the opportunity and for all that you do for us and for the nonprofit
Yeah,
sector.
you're welcome. And folks, don't go away. We'll be right back.